If you want to lock apps on Google Pixel 10 Pro XL, then unfortunately there is no dedicated option, feature, setting that would allow you to just lock one or several apps, set up the password, and that's it. However, there is an alternative. We can use private space to store apps behind a new password. So what you can do is in the app drawer, we can tap on the search bar at the top and we can write private space. Now, here we need to verify ourselves. So let's do this. And now we can press setup in the bottom right corner. Then we have the information about Google accounts. Of course, we can sign into a Google account to be able to access the Play Store within the private space. So we're gonna press got it, and then we will see the sign in page for Google. So you can enter the email you can sign into the Google account that you wish to use within the private space, because private space is just separated from everything that we have outside of it. So even the access to the Play Store is separate, because apps that we have inside the private space is also just separate from everything that we have on the phone. So let me just quickly sign in. After that, we're gonna choose that we will be using this device, and we need to agree to Google Terms of Service. And after that, we can set up the password. Now, we can use the screen lock password, so the same password that we use for our phone in general, but we can also create a new separate password just for the private space, and this is what I'm gonna choose. First, we need to enter the password of our screen lock to continue, and then we can choose the type of password that we want to use for the private space. And in this case, we set up with the fingerprint. So after setting up the password, we can also set up the fingerprint sensor just for the private space, by the way. And if you want to, you can skip the fingerprint by choosing continue without fingerprint unlock. So in this case, I'm gonna set up an easy PIN code. So enter the password that you wish to use for the private space, go next, and then enter the password again in order to confirm. And after a couple of seconds, we should be all set and we should be able to access the private space. So let's press done. And now over here, if you scroll down, we have the private section. This is the private space. Tap on this lock over here in order to open the private space. There we go. And now every app that we have in here is completely separated from everything that we have outside of here. In order to add an app, in order to lock the app, first we need to install it in here. So even if you have an app already installed on your phone, you still have to install it again. So this is a little bit of a downside, because if you want to lock an app, then like I said, we have to install it and set it up from the beginning. So I'm gonna open install over here, choose this option, and we're gonna search for WhatsApp. There we go. And we're gonna install it. And once it is installed, we should be able to find it in the private space, because I installed it for the private space. There we go. And now in order to access this app, of course, I need to unlock the access to the private space first. Without it, I won't be able to open the app, simple as that. And if you want to, you can also hide the private space in the app drawer. You can tap on the setting icon after unlocking. And over here we have hide private space. So let's enable it. And then whenever the private space is locked, then you can use the search bar again in order to write private space in order to unlock it. And there we go. So this is the idea of locking apps on Pixel 10 Pro XL. We just have to use the private space. Everything that we have inside the private space, once again, is separated. It contains different settings, different data, different accounts, and so on. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe.